I'm Jena from Among the Branches Farm and Floral Studio in Lansing, New York. Thank you for joining me on this lovely, slightly cold spring day for an unboxing video from, can you guess it, Palatine roses. I'm so excited to see these, such a lovely company. This is the first in a series of rose unboxing videos that I'll be doing, including unboxings from Grace Rose Farm, David Austin, High Country, Rogue Valley, April and Ashley. Am I missing someone? I think that's everyone. So please subscribe, stay tuned for those. I will also be doing a follow-up video to this one on planting these roses. For anyone who has ordered from Palatine this year in the United States, especially if you're here in the Northeast, you might be in a similar situation to me where you opted to have your bare root roses shipped earlier in the season than you normally would have liked to have done in order to avoid paying a hefty tariff. So after several helpful conversations with Palatine and some thoughts and research of my own, I've come up with a plan for how to handle these, because a lot of people are going, do I heel them in? Should I be soaking these for weeks? Should I be planting them now and trying to protect them? So I look forward to covering all of that in the next video for anyone that might be in a similar situation to me. For context, our farm is in Lansing, New York. We are on the slope above one of the Finger Lakes, so we're in a slight microclimate, and we tend to experience weather that is in the 6B to 7A range in USDA hardiness zone. So, yeah, on to the unboxing. Let's do this. Okay. So, as you can see, these were shipped in a box this size. I know I hope there are 17 roses in here, so they've definitely been packed in a bundle. I've received boxes this big from other rose companies that only had 1 or 2 roses in them, but that isn't anything to be concerned about. It's part of the process. So as I'm opening this up, you can see you've got black plastic inside, neatly folded, everything looking very clean. Okay, and then within that plastic bag, there is a second layer of plastic. All right, I'm gonna hold this up so you guys can really see how this is packed. I have to say the shipping was very efficient. These got here in 2 days. And the roses are nice and moist without any trace of mold, any funny smell from packaging. They seem incredibly fresh. So that's an excellent first sign. So let's see these babies. And they are, as I said, nice and tightly packed in there. So it's going to be easy to, if you got a similar number of roses, to break some branches if you pull them out too hard. So look at that. This is so nice. I love it when I see roots that are actually even longer than the canes. That's such a healthy bare root rose. So I just want to get into a couple of these bundles, cut them open. We can examine like cane thickness and quantity, search for any signs of crown gall or other problems you might expect with a bare root rose order. Well, not expect, but should always look for. I certainly don't expect that from Palatine, but we're all human. And I think that's a really important thing as someone that is running a new small farm myself, for all of us rosarians to keep in mind, is how hard it is for the vendors who do this and how much work and love and care goes into it. And yeah, we all make mistakes. So, not Palatine, no, they're flawless. So, okay, here we go. There's one set of binding around the upper canes and one around the lower canes. So, I'm just gonna get this undone for you. Boy, time to sharpen my florist shears. right, so in that first bundle, there are 3 roses. So this is first rose, this is Charles de Gaulle, and we've got 3 really nice canes, one smaller one. All of them are looking healthy. I'm not seeing this really starting to bud out from the lower part, but you take a closer peek and you can see green buds forming up toward the top. So this is looking healthy and beautiful, no signs of crown gall, no signs of mold or rot. There's a little bit of white residue on this that is clearly not mold or any sort of funkiness, but just like mineral deposit from water. So if you're seeing that, that's all there is. Not a problem. And the grafting site also looks healthy here. No softness. So beautiful Charles de Gaulle. And now, whew, look at this monster. What a beautiful rose. So I might consider going in here and taking out this cane. It is just about touching this one, and if I take this out, I'm still going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I leave this one, very healthy canes there. But look at that beautiful root. This has suffered so little shovel pruning on the tips. It's almost completely intact. So this is beautiful. This is Amorosa. So there's number 2. And again, it's starting to wake up just at the tips up here. Just very quietly. So this is a good thing. I want these to be really dormant right now. I don't want roses that are starting to leaf out on the first day of April in my zone. So the last one from this grouping is Madame Anisette. Again, really long, beautiful roots, looking very healthy. I also love that I'm seeing, I've got 4 eyes coming out right at the base here. That's really exciting. So it wants to push new healthy canes from the base in addition to having the 3 up here. All of those are thicker than a pencil, looking healthy. So that's lovely. And we'll move on to the next bundle. Okay. All right. Don't mind me just leaving microplastics all over in the lawn. I'm gonna pick them up after, I swear. Okay, so second bundle, even larger than the first. Look at this, just outstanding. What an amazing company. Okay, so I want to separate these without damaging the canes. They are a little stuck on one another's thorns. Okay, here we go. So this is Dark Desire, and look at those roots. I think these might be the most beautiful roots I've ever received on a bare root rose order. Very, very healthy looking canes starting to bud up there. I do see a tiny bit of stress on this one cane, and given how healthy the others are, I might actually just come in here and remove this. I'm seeing a bit of scarring, and it's unclear to me at the moment if that's a bit of canker right there. So I'll come back and examine that, but it's not something I'm concerned about, and it may honestly just be from an abrasion on another branch. So here is Dark Desire. And then we have Pompanella. All right, so this is a beautiful spray rose variety. Again, nice, healthy, long roots, bit of mud stuck to them there. Nice and long, decent canes. I have a little bit of loosening of the bark on the root here below the graft. And these are pretty moist, so I'm gonna be careful about pre-soaking them because I feel like these have already been kind of wet. In a healthy way, but I don't want to push them beyond their health. And I might go in here and just clean up some of these little guys and take those out so I can focus on pushing some new growth and on the existing main branches. But again, very healthy eyes, just starting to come up there. And last one from the second bundle is Gold Flame. I'm so excited for this rose. I've wanted this for a really long time. Again, just magnificent root base and lots of healthy top canes. I've got a little bit of what looks like winter dieback, possibly, or it might just be last season's pruning. Just a couple little guys that I can take off there, but overall looking very healthy, beautiful new buds. Could use with being cleaned up a little bit on the tips, but you normally do that anyway. And there are some new buds eyeing up just right at the base, right at the crown. So really magnificent. Look at that root. All right, on to bundle 3. You guys are really getting a lot out of this video. So for those of you who weren't ordering from Palatine this year or tuning into the situation, this is their final year shipping bare root roses. They've been doing it for a really long time, and they're just taking a step back from that part of the business. So this was my final chance to get a couple roses that I could only get from them on Multiflora, which is a rootstock that does really well for me here. So I went ahead and got 17 roses, which is why we're looking at so many today. Okay, so this is Pompon Veranda. So this one is a bit smaller, a bit more slender, but again, still looks very healthy. Roots are full length. And I'm not as familiar with this rose. Some roses I find they just tend to be a little bit more delicate in stature, cane thickness, root thickness, etc. So still all the signs of a healthy rose. I would love to see it push some new canes from the crown, because really what I'm seeing here are 2 main canes, and then partway up the second one is branching out. So hopefully it will do that with a little bit of encouragement this year. And this is Pompeii, which is a very cool spray rose if you're not familiar with it. Really unique coloring. All right, I'm seeing healthy roots, nice and robust. Yep. And some nice buds coming up low down on the canes again. So beautiful. And I love the shape of this. This is a Wellenspiel, and which I may or may not be pronouncing correctly. Forgive me for any mispronunciations. All of these roses, I spend so much time researching and living with and growing and studying, and the amount of time that I actually say them out loud, almost non-existent. So bear with me. But again, I'm seeing some nice buds right at the base, right ready to shoot out brand new canes. Very green, very firm. It's going to be a beautiful rose. All right, we're on to another bundle, believe it or not. And look, these are so tightly packed in there with so many roots. It's hard to even get them out. But they're packed very nicely. Nothing has been put at risk. I'm not even losing, new buds as I'm shifting these around, really, which is pretty impressive. See, as I said that, I lost one, of course. But and let's try do my box cutter for this twine. It's a little bit gnarly. I don't know if any of you guys are fans of Jan Brett, the children's book illustrator, but one of the books that she illustrated that I really loved as a child, I'm forgetting the title of it, but It had to do with a young woman training reindeer, and the reindeer become so stressed that they get all their antlers tangled, and it takes her laughing and causing them all to relax in order for the antlers to untangle. And I find myself thinking of that story every time I'm unwrapping bare root roses, because the branches just all get tangled together, and if you're stressed and you're pulling, they just seem to get tighter. So give it a moment, breathe, laugh, enjoy the sunshine. This is Larissa. Look at those roots, so beautiful. Again, this is one that lots of healthy canes, so I have plenty of room to prune, but I am going to come in here. I've got quite a few crossing canes here, and it's just a bit crowded and tangled over here. So I'll probably go in and take out this cane here, and certainly this one, and possibly these two as well. Just clean it up a little bit. But you can see this one's a bit farther ahead than a couple of the others. Still perfectly fine for this time of year. And I'll clean up some of these little bits up here that we don't really need. Very healthy rose. Okay. This is Amour de Morline. So beautiful. Another rose I've been wanting for a really long time. Roots are looking healthy. I don't see any cause for concern. Again, a little bit of that separation of the surface at the top of this one. And this is something to look out for me. It's not a big deal, but just something to watch out for with getting bare root roses is there's this little bit of stem here from the previous year that it was obviously a cane that was coming off of there, and it didn't survive the winter or got pruned back and then died back from there, and it's just turned to mush. So there's this little bit of rot in there, and that's the sort of thing that I always like to go in immediately with a sterile set of pruners and just prune back and make sure it hasn't gone into the crown itself. But if I'm pressing on it with my fingernail, it was really in the branch and not in the crown. So nothing to worry about, but that is something that, you don't want any softness or rot in the crown itself. This is another one where I'm going to clean up a little bit and prune out. This has got to go in the middle for sure. And probably one of these, maybe this one, just to give it a little bit more breathing space. Get rid of a little guy like that. So, all right. Last rose from this bundle is a magnificent giant. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is La Fontaine aux Pearls. Again, forgive my American pronunciation. It is probably the farthest ahead that I've seen so far. And this one actually does have a broken guy there, but it's fine. It's bursting at the seams. It's ready to go. I've also got a broken cane on it, but again, the remaining canes are very healthy. I'll probably want to remove one of these two so they're not right up next to each other and just prune this one back. So look at those roots, people. Amazing. Just amazing. All right, we've got 2 more bundles left to go. By the time I'm finished, everyone will have seen an example of any rose that they're buying, I swear. I have one of everything. Okay. Get through this twine. I have to say I like the way that they've packaged these in groups of 3, and if you noticed when I showed you the interior of the box earlier, they're sort of set up in their head to heel, which made them nestle nicely. There wasn't any room for them to shift around and become damaged from that. So, whew, beautiful. All right, this is Poseidon. Look at those long roots. Looks like a sea monster, a sea god. So some smaller canes on this. This seems, yes, this one is broken. So I'll go in there. I'm going to sterilize my pruners. I always like them to be sterile between different types of roses, even if they're coming from the same company. But I'll go in and just clean this up, get that broken cane off, and clear up a little bit of the tiny stuff from that before it gets planted. And this is what appears to be a tiny peach pit. So if you were looking at that and wondering what growth is that on those rose roots, it's a peach pit. All right, no sign of anything to be concerned about, and there are some nice buds developing down low. There is a newer one that, and this is part of what I was saying before about these seeming a little bit wet. Like, this was a new bud from this year and it's rotted a little bit. So I'm just gonna go in there and get rid of that right now. It doesn't cause any issues, but yeah, looking beautiful. Okay. All right, this baby is Rose in Fascination. Talk about a fascinating rose color. And this one, the roots are just starting to wake up. I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but I've just got like a few tiny white new rose tips going. So this baby really wants to wake up. And I'm looking at it, and there is this area. I'll probably cut this cane back. There is an area, you can see it's got a strange elbow and some sign of damage there. I don't think that's caused, sometimes when I see that, my mind goes to rose midge, because if they attack a bud here and there's another one slightly below it, sometimes it'll grow out at an angle, but you'll lose what would have been a bud going this way. But in this case, I'm not sure what caused that. I don't think it's any cause for concern, but I might just burn it off. Okay. Last one from this bundle, and then we're on to the final bundle. All right, there's a little bit of dead leaf matter in here. Tiny, again, slightly rotting cane from last season. So I'll go in there, clean that out, and just make sure there's no softness in the crown. Nope, that's okay. All right. This is Foxy Lady. If you're a fan of coral and orange roses, it's such an exciting rose to have. Beautiful, long train of roots, healthy canes. Again, a little bit tangly on this one, so I'll take some out, but that's really not a complaint. I kind of prefer it if a vendor sends me a rose where I get to make the pruning decisions for my garden and the way that things like to grow in it, and I like to grow them. So that's really lovely. And last bundle for today. Here we go. Cutting apart. Wow. I don't know if you guys could see that in my lap, but this one was so tightly tied and so large and robust that it sprung apart when I undid that. Okay, so this last one has 2 roses, oh my gosh, which are both just monstrous beauties. Look at those. Also, for reference, I'm 6 feet tall with a very long torso, so that is a big bare root rose. All right, so this baby is Peach Melba. Okay. Oh, just beautiful. And the root looks really healthy. No sign of softness in the crown or decay. Yeah, branches are looking good. There are a couple signs of like rubbing from last season. Again, not a problem. I'm going to be pruning a couple of these out. These are already interlocked. They're so tight. But God, what a rose. What a rose. Okay, and the last one is the Pride. Such a cool, unique mauve rose. Another one I've been looking forward to for a long time. Roots look very healthy. No sign of crown gall. No softening of the crown. Healthy stems starting to wake up. They're a little bit tight again, a little flat to one another. It doesn't have that open hand shape, so I'll go in there and remove a couple of those and just help it get a little more breathing room. I I have to say, this is the most beautiful bare root rose order I have ever received. Thank you so much, Palatine, for this and every other year of roses that you have done. And thank you for everyone who watched today. Again, please subscribe if you'd like to see future unboxing videos of roses from other vendors, updates about the farm, flowers from here, and updates about all these roses that you saw today. I'll be following this up, as I said before, with a planting video about how to handle these bare roots on April 1st in northeast of the US. Thank you so much. Have a great day.